Okay, so this is going to be a very, very difficult video for me to make, and I never wanted to make this video. But the reason why I'm making it is because there has been so many things that are talking about the whole trans community with the whole 72 genders Tumblr issue, and it's confusing a lot of people, and I don't blame them. It's very confusing. Gender can be confusing. I know that more than anybody, and I wanted to share my story on my thoughts on gender dysphoria because maybe it might clear the air for some people. So, here I go. As I was growing up as a kid, I knew something was dead wrong with me. At the age of 3, I felt out of place. I felt like this was not the life. This was not my life. I was living someone else's life, basically. And I hated my name so much. I wanted my name to be Leo because I was really big on Ninja Turtles when it first came out on TV. And I wanted Leo to be my name more than anything. And when I was 3 years old, even 2, when I started kind of speaking, I would always say, I am baby boy. I am baby boy. Always, always. And my mother would never understand why. Guys, it's a really hard video to make. I'm sorry if I break down. I know what it feels like. Let's just say I know what it feels like for anyone that has gender dysphoria or is transgender, because I was back then. I know what it feels like to look in the mirror and have a stranger stare at you at the face. I know what it feels like. It's horrible. I hated taking photos when I was a little kid. I hated that, especially my birthdays. I hated taking photos of myself because it was like a bad memory captured forever. And I just didn't know what I was feeling. I was so confused. I was a kid, and in school I always felt torn apart because by the girls, and the girls didn't want me. Oh wait, let's say I was sorry. Okay, sorry. Heart is racing and I'm trying not to get anxiety over this. I was bullied throughout all the way to high school. I was bullied. And I felt so torn apart because I never felt like I'd fit in. I would try to hang out with the boys, but they didn't want me in their team because I wasn't a boy. I tried to hang out with the girls, but I wasn't girly enough. It's like I never belonged. I remember as a kid when we had gym class, you know how the girls had their own room, changing room, and the boys had their own changing room? I was in the girls' changing room, and I have always felt really uncomfortable. I always choose to go into the bathroom stall and change by myself. I felt wrong being in there changing because it just, I mean, now I know why, but at the time I was so confused by that. I was like, why do I feel like I'm intruding being in here? Like, I do not belong in here. I felt disrespectful being in there. Like, I needed to get the hell out, and I did. And the girls would make fun of me for that. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to show, respect for other girls. And I don't know why I said that, and now I do, but I just never wanted to change in front of the girls. And I obviously couldn't change in front of the guys because I didn't have the anatomy. So I was always alone. I felt really, really lost. I had no one. And I'm very blessed that there is communities out there that talk to people about this now because there wasn't any when I was around. Every single Halloween, my mother would always make me into a princess. And I felt so wrong wearing dresses, anything girly, anything pink. I just felt so wrong. And Halloween, as I got older and I was able to dress whatever I wanted, I felt like it was Christmas for me. It was the one day of the year I was able to dress like me. When I got my first menstrual cycle, period, nothing was the same. I felt like I'm like, that's it, I'm done. It was a slap of reality to know that I'm entering womanhood and I could never enter manhood, ever. That messed me up pretty bad. I was always depressed because of it. I was always afraid to grow breast. Always afraid, because everyone in my family is like... And I saw that, I'm just like, oh my god, I hope I never get that. I hope I never get big boobs. Like, just the idea of getting them, I was so sad. Like, I was hoping that there was a way to, like, just chop them off or something, you know, like, if I got them. Luckily, I never did. I stayed in A cup forever. At the age of 21, I was finally able to cut my hair. Like, I had the guts to do it, to cut my hair, and it felt like such a weight lifted my shoulders when I was able to do that, because my family always forced me to have long hair, and I hated that. I grew up in a Mexican household, and you can tell how very gender stereotyped they are. Very gender stereotype. The year I cut my hair was also the same year I first went to Gay Pride for the first time, and that was like a whole new world that opened up for me, with a bunch of answers that were answered, but it left a lot of questions too. I found out about transgender, and I found out what transitioning is exactly, and I looked more into it, and that's when I met my first friend who was a trans guy who told me about it. And he was on board with it. He's like, my parents don't accept it at all, but once I'm 18 and move out, I'm gonna fucking be who I want to be, and that's that. And I'm just like, whoa. Like, I was lucky because I did speak to my mom about it. At first, she was a little like, oh, you know, it's so sad. I don't want to lose my baby girl, because she wanted a baby girl so bad. But I'm like, I love you, but me first. So, you know, I don't give a shit what people think. I never did. If my family disowned me, I'd be like, oh well, I'll find a way. But she was very supportive after a while. We're like, yeah, we'd do something. And we went shopping for the first time, and she actually bought me boy clothes, and I felt so happy. And she told me, like, I would love you if you're a girl, boy, cat, dog, gay, straight, I don't care. You're still my child. And I was like, oh my god, sorry. Whew, that was emotional. But anyway, once I turned 21 and I found out about all this stuff, I was determined. I was so determined to go for it, transitioning. I didn't exactly have the resources or funds or money or anything for it, so I was like, sucks, but it's gonna have to wait, but I'm still gonna have it. Like, no matter what, I'm still going through it. I'm still going through home runs, I don't give a shit, blah, 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 you know, I'm doing it. And I researched like crazy, everything. And if some of you are hearing like, Joy, why didn't you ever like talk about this? Is because it was a very personal thing. I didn't want to tell anybody until I actually started to transition, because I kind of wanted to like do it as a surprise, you know? And at the same time, it's a very personal journey, and not a lot of people like to share it. But that's pretty much downright. I just didn't want to really talk about it. Like, this video alone is making me a little anxious. I'm trying not to think about it. Okay. And around age 25, everything kind of like turned. Around this age is when I graduated college, and I actually was gonna go through the process of changing my name, so that way when I had my diploma, my bachelor's degree, I would have my name I always wanted. I was gonna pick Joey too, which is my YouTube name. But I started to feel like lost and confused again from the very beginning. And it's like, I could not, I'm really, really sorry. This makes no sense for you guys. I'm really sorry. For 20 years, for over 20 years, 2 decades, I felt so confused in my own body. I felt so much gender dysphoria. I could not stand looking at myself in the mirror. I hated it. And I did everything what I could, even just to like bind or wear an undershirt or anything. Like, I just never wanted to ever show anything feminine. Sorry, this is a really hard video to make. I'm doing it for good reasons though. I just didn't understand why, after 20 years, I felt so right about something, that all this was wrong. This was a mistake. I cursed God for this mistake he made, and wondered why. Why would you do this to me? Why would you play like such a sick fucking joke on me? And all of a sudden, at age 25, my gender dysphoria feelings like started to go away. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. I've never went through hormones. I never went through surgery. All of a sudden, they just started going away. And it's like, if I can explain how I felt, it's like basically you're driving and you have a red light and you're so excited for what's going to come next. You're just like, oh my God, here we go, I'm ready. And when green light comes, you're stuck. You don't know what you're doing. You're just like, okay, should I go? I'm like, I had a green light. I had the acceptance of my family. I had the funds. I was working my butt off and saving money. And slowly I started to wear girl clothes every now and then. And I was okay with it. Like, I didn't feel any, like, discomfort or anything bad about it. I was like, okay, I feel okay wearing these clothes. And that felt even weirder. So then I'm like, you know what? Let's put a pause on this. As much as I would have wanted to go forward, let me pause and think about it. Because once you do surgery, you really can't go back. I mean, you could try. You know, you can, depending on what you do. But, you know, I just don't want to, like, do something and then be confused again and just... I understand why I felt that way. I looked into it, because I looked into more studies about gender dysphoria going away on its own, and I found out that there was a lot of people like me. And if you don't believe me, like, I'm going to leave links and resources at the bottom of this video as links.
Most of us never have to think twice about whether we're male or female. But for some, the definition of who they really are is intensely complex. On this episode of True Life, you'll meet two young people who have already changed their gender once, but now may convert it back again as they search to find their true identities once and for all.
I found out, and I found this out from Shane Dawson as well, in this live broadcast, because he had the same thing as me. He was very confused about his gender, and he said that he found out that some of us, before we turned 30, like just before we turned 30, and I was 25 at this age, some people with gender dysphoria who had it all their lives, right before they turn 30, it goes away. And I'm like, what? I'm just like, there's no way. How does it just vanish like nothing? I was so sure about this for 2 decades. How do I just... What the fuck? I'm just... And I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional. I'm just talking about my experience, so please don't get mad at me. But I really believe the reason why some of us do lose gender dysphoria is because when we get older, and then we don't do anything to ourselves, obviously if there's no hormones involved or anything, I think maybe like the hormone imbalance itself. I don't know. And then slowly your brain like starts to like match your gender based on how you develop more and more and release more of the natural hormones you have. Or I don't know. That's still a new study. I don't know. I don't know why. For 2 decades I felt like this, and then it went away. And I feel like I've told a few of my trans friends about this, and they told me I was a faker. I was just like wanting attention or whatever. Like they had my support when I was transition. And I told them like, I don't think I'm gonna do this anymore. They're like, you know what, fuck you, you know, you're a loser, you're homophobic and you're transphobic. And I'm like, I'm just saying what I feel. And that's what I don't want in this video. Like, I don't want to get attacked for sharing my story. I don't want to get attacked for having my own opinions and people cursing me out on Twitter. Like, that's not a mature way to handle things. If somebody has an opinion on something and they want to live their life, you don't get to curse them out because it's their opinion. That's just what I feel. I just feel like some of our gender dysphoria does go away, but not always. And I want to make this clear because I don't want to get hate for this. I am not making this video to stop you or anyone else from transitioning. If you believe it is for you and you alone, and it will benefit you, and you want to live your life the way you want, you go right ahead. Everyone has the right to live what they want. I'm just telling you my story, and I want to share my story because not a lot of us come out and talk about this that have had it, and it just goes away like boom. Because I want you to see from both sides, everything, so then that way you have a clear picture in your mind to choose what you want to do. That's all I want to say. Because I have friends from church that don't agree with gay marriage. Like, I have this friend who's a father, he's an older father, who has a son who just came out gay, and he wants to get married to his partner. And he told his dad, and his dad was a little like, oof about it, but he was like, you know what? He's my son. Yeah, I don't believe in gay marriage, but he's my son, and I love him, and I'm still gonna support him. Like, I have my own opinions about marriage. That's my right, but he should have his right to live his life. So that's what I mean. I'm trying to see both sides. The father has the right to believe what he wants, and the boy has the right to marry who he wants. And we could all just be friends and agree to disagree. That's how I see it. Because there's just so much, there's so much anger in the world when it comes to like the LGBT, and I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of things that make me angry too. Riley. Alright. Now that I look back on it and everything that happened, I'm really happy I didn't take the necessary steps to transition. I'm very happy. I'm so happy I didn't do surgery. Because again, people don't want to talk about this, but there's also something called detransitioning, where people actually regret their transition and then go back. Again, I'm not saying that happens all the time, but it does happen. That's why I believe that when you have these gender dysphoria thoughts, you should talk to a professional that specializes in gender dysphoria, not just a random psychiatrist that's going to be a crazy Christian that says, you're going to hell. I mean, like someone that legit knows what the fuck they're talking about. So then you can make the choices that you want for you. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what else to say with this video. I really don't. I'm sorry if it confuses people. I'm sorry if it made you angry. I just wanted to get it out there because it was really bugging me for a long time. And I did make a video similar to this, but I took it down because I was embarrassed by it. Being serious. And right now with my life, I feel happy. I feel really, really happy with everything that went through my life. In a way, I'm happy I had these feelings of feeling confused because it has helped other people. Some of us are out there, and it's just a sad thing that we get hated on for it. It shouldn't be that way. Right now, I have an amazing husband that accepts me 100% all in who I am, my past, future, present, everything. I want to end it with something that's been also bugging me, that I'm so sick and tired of seeing all these crazy people making the rest of us in the LGBT look crazy. Like, I'm sure they're good people. I'm sure they're confused too. They're just living their lives the way they want. Wait, I don't agree with it. But it's people like that make everyone else look crazy. That's all I'm going to say. Again, I'm going to leave some resources in my link below so you can look into what you believe is right for you. Just make sure it's the right one. I just want to say, it's okay to feel confused if you really are stuck and you don't know what's going on. I think until you're not confused anymore, you should talk to somebody, talk to friends, talk to your community to figure out exactly what you want to do. Because it's only you are the only one who really knows. Anyways, God bless, and I hope that you will find your true self, as I did me. Bye.